Well, hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to the 8th session of our Women on the Rise series. Just for the ones who maybe are just joining us for the first time, actually, I think most of you have been with us several of these classes, but I work with the Small Business Development Center along with Lorene. We are business advisors and we help small businesses every day. And we are funded by the Small Business Development Center and Big Sky Economic Development. So we get to do a lot of fun things in all sorts of different ways. But one of the big things that we do every day is we work with small businesses anywhere from their idea stage all the way up to selling their business and everywhere in between. So every day looks a little bit different. And we just love working with small businesses and helping your dreams come true. So when we kind of heard that there were so many women, over 2 million women left the workforce when the pandemic started, we were like, oh my gosh, we got to do something. And Karen was on the same wavelength, and she actually reached out to Lorene and was like, hey, we've got to do something about this. And so that's where this Women on the Rise series was born. And so we have had just such a fun time working with all you women these last 8 weeks. And gosh, it's going to be so sad next week for our last session, but we are just so excited for all the people we got to meet and the connections we got to make. So I'll kind of throw it over to Karen. Karen Gross, she owns her Canvas Creek team building, and we just absolutely love Karen. We love working with her. She's such a breath of fresh air, and she just has such great ideas. So throw it over to Karen for the start of the rest of the workshop.
You are so good, Kayla. Kayla, when you said this was second to the last call, it hit me. I've been knowing that we're coming to the end, and we just talked about it a few minutes ago, but just then my stomach just got all tight, and I was like, I'm going to cry because I will miss you guys. Holy heck, we have learned some things about one another, and today and next week is going to be even more of that. So as we get started, I'm going to tell you that we have a surprise guest. We didn't even advertise this, partly because this is how things work in my world. Katie's husband, Cole, I go to him for medical care, and he says, you have sharp elbows, because whenever I meet somebody cool, I'm like, oh, you should join me. I poke him all the time. So last night I had a little coaching call that Sheridan paid me for, and then she coached me as much as I coached her. And I was like, by dang, woman, you should come on this call tomorrow. So here is Sheridan Cottrell. Sheridan, tell us a little bit about what you do for the world.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Sheridan Cottrell, and I'm a consultant with Legacy Creatives, Legacy Consulting. And I have like a pretty diverse background, as most of us probably do. Like I always say that I became a consultant before it was cool to be one. So I'm a speech pathologist by trade, and I became a consultant just right out of the gate. I was like, this $50,000 as a speech therapist with my $100,000 in student loans isn't going to cut it. So I really kind of carved a niche out for myself as a consultant, like found my niche, found where my zone was, and I've been helping hospitals and schools with their operations and systems and authentic connections and all of those things. And in the meantime, because I wasn't busy enough, I started building a community that used to be called Big Sky Women, and just a more local community of women. I just really saw that there was something more that I wanted to be and bring to the world. So I thought, I'm going to start speaking that into women. And so I started Big Sky Women, but what I didn't realize at the time is I was really undervaluing my time with that model. And so that was a huge learning curve for me. And then I really started to blend my consulting with my coaching, and Legacy was born. And so I help women professionals really up level their business. And with these things that Karen's talking about, systems, operations, controlling your time, money, energy. I said this to Karen yesterday. If you can get time, money, energy, you win this game. And so we have to spend a lot of time figuring out what system works for us and how we can really up level that in our lives.
Oh my gosh, I told her, you guys need her in your life. I know I do. So, we're going to talk a little bit, and then Sheridan's going to come on and give you some more tips. But getting ready for her and just getting to know one another, because there are a couple of people on the call, I'd love for you to pop into chat. And the first thing you're going to do is just tell me the name of the business that you're starting or perfecting. Some of you are restarting. Some of you don't quite know the name of the business yet, Denise, but put in there as close as you have. have to the name. Yeah, I agree with you, Kayla. Up level, love it. Okay, now I'm going to ask you this big question, and that is, who do you serve? Who are the people in the world that you are serving? Kind of your niche. Who are the people that you're taking care of? Amazing undergarments. That is a good way to start the day. So if we can get all the homeowners who wear underwear into your shop, you guys can do a thing. You and Kelsey can pair up there. Oh, love it. Katie, it's exhausting serving everybody in the world though, isn't it? Oh, Shelley, I love this. Looking for people who want balance between mind, body, and spirit. Conscious consumers who look beyond the label when purchasing their everyday supplies. Tiffany, we got to know more about that. Tell us more.
Yeah, so my background is fashion design, which is probably not super conscious industry, but going forward, I'm working on like a curated corner store in our neighborhood. And so it'd be like a mercantile, but as sustainable as possible. So local produce and milk and eggs, but also sustainably packaged home goods like laundry soap and body balms and lotions and stuff. So
okay, everybody who loves that idea, put in chat. I love it. Kayla, go ahead and talk.
I just want to say, I grew up in Helena, and we always had the general mercantile, and
yeah.
I just loved it. So the moment you said mercantile, I was like, I'm your customer, because
Yeah.
I just love the feel of mercantile.
Yeah, totally. Oh, and I feel like that's a thing that we're really missing.
Well, yeah, I'm waiting for
in general.
Jane to come in.
But
But
Sorry. Go ahead, Tiffany.
oh no, I was just gonna say, as an industry, retail and billings especially, like we don't really have that little mercantile. Well, I guess there's like Liberty and Vine is great, and I love that. But I think we can always use more local little guys. So
where is your store going to be?
I live over in Annafeld, so we built with McCall Homes about 2 years ago, and at the time we signed, they were like, oh, there'll be a marketplace, and I was like, oh yeah, whatever, let's see. And then about I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, there were more rumors about it coming. And then about 2 weeks ago, they put a sign up that said it's coming. You know, there's an actual Annafeld market. So we're on Elysian Road, just like east of the school. So Josephine Crossing, then Annafeld, and then Elysian School. So it'll be kind of a niche for homeowners over here, but hopefully for everybody in Billings as well.
Isn't that so cool, you guys? And I love that you liked it. So this isn't what I was planning, but that's how it works with me, as you know. We are going to go down the list here, and you have 30 seconds to do a little commercial about your business. So we are going to start with, I have to see where we were here. Got everybody out the door. That was really good. Sorry, knew where we were. Okay, so Kelsey, you're up, and then after Kelsey is going to be Claire. So Kelsey, 30 seconds. Tell us what you do and who you're doing it for.
Okay, I actually wrote like an elevator pitch for another class I'm in. So if I haven't said it out loud yet, so if I can read that, would that be okay? It's not too long.
So
okay.
Perfect.
My company is called Cobalt Collective. I provide comprehensive design solutions with an approachable and collaborative service that you can trust. Services offered include design consultation, interior styling, product sourcing, and material selection. I am the sole proprietor that started this branch of my business in 2020. My target market is homeowners with a budget to refresh or redesign their spaces. It is just me at this point, but eventually we would like to grow to 2 or 3 people with a hub to collaborate. We set ourselves apart by being personable, approachable, relatable, and flexible. It's less commitment than hiring an interior designer, and I offer expertise in fine art, textiles, wallpaper, and tile. Installation and logistics is also something I'm very familiar with and can implement for timelines. My open and fresh perspective is different than many designers in our area. I love to mesh styles and vibes to create a space you will enjoy while also functioning well. Sorry if that was a little formal, but.
Right. It's a tall elevator. You're in New York City, right? You're going to
Okay, I know. I need to trim it down, but thanks for letting me practice it. It's for another class I'm in, so.
That is great. So we'll talk a little bit about more about elevator pitches. As you know, it's too long, but holy cow, girl, you are so impressive. Wow, that is fantastic. Claire, what do you do? 30 seconds, short elevator.
Yeah, mine will be real short because I'm perennial well-being. I'm looking to do intuitive, sustainable wellness for women 30 to 45, and that's about all I have so far. So that's it.
That is good. Claire, if you want, pop a link to your survey in the chat at the end of the call. Don't do it now or they'll go do that, but she's got a great survey that needs information. So Tiffany, you're next, and then Shelly, you're after that. So Tiffany. Oh, you told us what you're doing.
I kind of told you. I don't know. Do you want me to tell you more? I think you guys probably got the gist. There's a bunch of people on here if you want to let somebody else go.
You did good. Sorry, I missed that.
No worries.
Okay. So Shelly and then Katie. Shelly, you're on mute. That's why I give people warning. I just didn't give you very much.
Okay.
Great.
So I am from Billings and I'm an artist and energy healer. With a background in environmental engineering of 20 years. So this is kind of my second career. I was led a couple of years ago to answer the calling of my soul and received inspiration to create the art for inner balance. And my business was born, and I had all the printed materials and everything within like a week or two of the inspiration. And I have struggled a little bit since then trying to define what I'm doing, but the ultimate goal is to help my patrons and clients find their own inner balance where body, mind, and spirit are in flow and work together.
Holy cow.
I do that between Reiki and art and jewelry and, you know, the materials that I use and whatnot.
Okay, that is fantastic. We have to talk more because, you know, I'm all about making money with art and changing people's lives with art.
Yes,
so,
and talking to you is on my big broad to-do list, and I may be looking at a studio space. I have to make a commitment like today on whether I take it or not. So it's
okay. Well, you already know that when
right
you
now.
jump, the universe catches you. So think about jumping.
Yes.
Okay. So Katie and then Denise.
All right. I will give two 15-second elevator pitches here. So as my my 9-to-5 job, my regular job, I'm a human resources manager at a manufacturing company where we manufacture a specialized variety of construction tools. And as an HR manager, I look to provide fulfilling careers for people in our community in the manufacturing world. And then my second elevator pitch for our clinic that my husband and I run for Flex Family Health is that we provide healthcare that's flexible and affordable to people on the whole spectrum, no matter what your background is, on a membership-based model rather than a fee-for-service model, which is the traditional healthcare system that people think of that takes insurance and that type of thing. So those are my elevator pitches. Hopefully you kind of get the gist there.
They're so fantastic. I'm going to elevator pitch just a little bit more Flex Family Health. I am a member of Flex Family Health, and I've texted her husband at 2 in the morning, and she still talks to me. So they are really cool people doing really amazing things. You all should be members. It is incredible, the model that they've got going there. Okay,
No,
Denise,
thanks,
yes, you are welcome. I'll try not to text him tonight. So Denise, you're next, and then Tana.
Okay. I have been in public relations in different ways for a long time. And so now I'm going to, instead of doing it as an employee for several different employers or for one employer, I'm going to work on behalf of several organizations and individuals, and it's actually true public relations. So I've talked to Rebel River, I've talked to a lot of people that I've known through the years who work on branding and websites and all of that kind of stuff. But this is actual true public relations, which none of the other people like doing, and it really excites me. So it includes media relations, preparing for a television interview and a long format radio interview. It's coaching for that perfect interview. It's actually getting your press release heard or seen and then getting it on the air. So earned media, letting people know what's different about you. And then that other side of it is that hopefully never happens to you, crisis communications and how to relate to the press if your company is in one of those situations where, heaven forbid, that you have to come to terms with the fact that you have a public relations nightmare. So writing press releases, working with organizations as a whole, working with individuals, that's my focus. Karen, what do you think? Are you proud of me? I actually made it somewhere.
I am so happy.
You're killing
it. When you said, I'm finally ready to do it, I wanted to tell you to add comma, damn it. Because it is time to get it rolling. I'm so excited for you to do this. Also, I need to talk to you guys all about coaches. That's a whole thing for me there. Okay, so who did I say was next? I got lost here. Sorry about that.
I think it was Tana.
Tana, yes, you are next.
Okay.
30 seconds.
What was that?
30 seconds.
Okay. So I am honored and privileged to be able to serve whoever walks through my door and be able to help them become whole in whatever way that they feel helps them fulfill how they see themselves and help them have a better positive outlook and be able to look at their body and love what they have.
A good bra will do that for you, ladies.
Huh?
I said a good bra will do that for you.
A good bra, a good lot of things. Good pair of panties.
Right.
I always say, the best skill in my job is listening, because if I'm listening, they don't even know what they want, but I can hear it, and then that's where I do my magic, because I can go and find a product that they didn't even know existed or didn't know how it worked. And that way it helps. And it's one of the most fulfilling jobs, especially when I deal with people who've lost a breast and are able to give them something back that was taken away. I just give it back to them in a different way.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you, Tana. The next person is Julie, and I've been dying to hear about this. Not that I have clutter, but Julie, talk to us. Julie, it's all about coming off mute, isn't it? Uh-oh, now we lost your picture even. Okay, Julie, while you figure that out, Tony, you didn't put in the text or the chat box. I've been going down that, but Tony, I'd love for these women to hear what you do. Do you want to tell them?
For giving me a shot here, Karen. Yeah, I'm an intellectual property attorney, so I handle patent, trademark, and copyright work for clients. Karen's been in to see us, and I'm just delighted to hear the range of women-owned businesses on this call, from manufacturing to PR to retail. Gave a webinar yesterday to Montana engineers, so that's what we do. I just feel happy to support local businesses. Our practice is international, but a lot of you, most of you are doing business across state lines, and many of you internationally. So.
And you guys, we talked about this back in the beginning when we talked about contracting, that, it says sign here, but I smell a rat. Tony was one of the people that we told you that you should go to, because you need to protect your intellectual property. You need to protect your trademarks, those type of things. And so having somebody with her skills in our town is incredibly important. So, I'm so glad you're here. Tony, you should drop a link to your business for us in the, yeah, that'd be great. Okay, so Brielle, can you come off and tell us, come off mute and tell us what you're doing. And then Veronica, you'd be next.
Hello. So we're just barely getting started, but I was a teacher for about 5-6 years, and I'm working with a couple other teachers to create little subscription boxes that will kind of help toddlers get those resources. So parents who don't want to go to preschool or different things that can help, just resources to get their child ready for school. So it's very in the beginning stages, don't have a name or anything like that, but just trying to get things rolling with it.
Excellent. There's some great resources in town for that. I'm so excited to hear what you're doing. So Julie and then Veronica, and then we're going to cut this off. So Julie, tell us what you do.
Okay, I think is the sound working?
Yes, we gotcha.
Okay. I'm technology challenged. I'm doing this on a smartphone. So I can never find the button at the bottom to get the chat until too late. So yeah, what I have is it's a way to get rid of clutter. It's worked really well for me. And so what I'm trying to do, I've got business license, Instagram, all the kind of things like that. But it's the technology catching up. But I want it to be an Instagram, YouTube type of thing. And I want to develop an app to help people get rid of clutter, whether it's yourself, or a lot of times people have people pass away, and just a way to do it bit by bit and track it, and you feel pretty good about it. I've worked for a long time, last 10 years, for nonprofits, but my degree is zoology, so I want to get back to science and the apps and that kind of thing. Interestingly, I'd actually talked to Tony Tees, because the intellectual property is really, a big thing, especially in then trying to do app development. And so my challenge definitely has also been trying to get a business plan, how to write a business plan. I know how to do it, but actually doing it is tricky. But yeah, it's been a really successful way to get rid of stuff. And I feel like I'm doing Chinese cooking. I've got all these parts, but I haven't thrown it into the pan is the problem. So
oh my gosh,
yeah, so
that
anyway,
is great. That is
and
great.
I just ordered, so I'm getting I'm using all this old technology trying to piece it together, but so I'm finally getting caught up. And so anyway, yeah, I want to do a business also that I can travel, that I can do from other places. And once I get the clutter thing going, hopefully get the intellectual property, maybe get this app designed, that once I get that then I'll be able to work on other projects and do it with technology, not being stuck just maybe I'm in Helena, not just being here.
So Julie, if you have not done it yet, go to SBDC. They have,
I did in Helena, I just haven't had much luck here. So that's why I found you guys.
Okay, she'll help you out. So our office, I'm sure that they can help you. Might be crossing lines, I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you to go there anyway, because they have a one-page business license that will change your world. It makes it really, really simple. Veronica, 30 seconds. Tell us what you're doing for the world.
Good morning, everyone. I don't have a business. I work for the Career and College Readiness Center in Great Falls, and I'm the community connections person along with the data manager. And so I connect our students with businesses and help them decide what they're going to upscale to do. Some of our students are just getting their high school diploma, but most of our students come in and they've been out of the workforce for a while. Maybe their kids are in school and they're going to start. Some of them actually, we take them through the entrepreneur program, and if they want to open their own business, but we help them if they want to go on to higher education. We teach them that college prep, writing and math if they've been out of school for a while, or maybe they graduated and not the top of their class, so they need support before they actually spend money to go to school. Some of them are doing a short-term training like a CNA class or something like that, and then some of them just need immediate job placement. So I, stay in touch with employers to find out what their needs are and what the skills that they're looking for. And then we try to do some of that pre-learning before an apprenticeship or before they actually go to work. So we just recently are partnering with the Lifelong Learning Center at the college, and we are going to institute some children's programs this summer. It's called Kids College. They did a couple of robotics classes last year, but we are going to start a program called Safety Town. It's throughout the country. My husband and I raised 4 children and doing the Air Force move. And fortunately, in 2 of the communities we lived in, my children were able to participate in Safety Town, and they don't have it in Montana. And so it's going to be a really great program. It's a summertime 2-week, 3 hours a day for pre-kindergarten students to learn safety. It was established in the 30s by a police officer and a kindergarten teacher because a child was hit by a car on his way to school. And so that's where it started, and now it incorporates a ton of other safety issues, gun safety, stranger danger, everything. So it's really a wonderful thing. So I'm so excited about getting that started. And I have enjoyed every one of you. It's so nice to know that you all have these wonderful businesses. I can't wait to share. My daughter is very much an independent woman, and you guys are a great example for her. So good job.
So,
Veronica, I'm a graduate of Safety Town.
Oh, you are?
I am.
There were
I'm
so many
excited
people
to
that didn't even
hear.
know what it was here. So yeah, we won't be able to start it till next summer because I'm incorporating the high school house students from both of the high schools. Their pre-construction classes are going to build our town. And so it's going to take a while to get all the things in place, but I'm really excited about it because no one here actually knows what it is. Where did you do your Safety Town?
So I'm from New Jersey, and so I took it there. And
Okay.
to this day, I mean, me and my brother were in our late 20s. We still talk about it all the time.
My kids do too. I asked my son, who's still here, and I said, and he's 28, and I said, do you remember doing Safety Town? And he says, oh yeah. I mean, he was like so excited about it. Yeah.
oh my gosh, you guys are speaking a language that absolutely has to be spoken right now. People need this, kids need this. There are people
Yes.
in our state who are ready for that. So folks, you've been on the call, and a couple weeks ago we talked about, you think I should hire employees. My kids don't even listen to me. Knowing people like Veronica is going to help you hire employees. That's why we network on these calls. Get in touch with her, Veronica. Drop us a link to how they can get a hold of you. When you're ready to hire employees, if you go to somebody who's training employees, they want you to be successful, and they're going to have really well-trained employees. So Veronica, we're glad you're here for all of those reasons. All right, I could listen to you guys all day, but I want you to get to listen to Sheridan in a couple of minutes, and that comes at the price of having to listen to me. I'm going to have you very briefly. I promised you that we would do a goal setting session today. We're not going to do my big fancy goal setting session. We're going to do a little very brief one, and it's very simple, but I need you to get a paper out and write down your big dream goal. And it's one thing, it's not 75 things. What is your one big dream goal? Where are you going? So what do you want? It's the reason that you're doing your business. What do you want to do? Is it make a lot of money? Is it change the world? Does it help people find balance? Is it make a lot of money? That's not bad. I'm going to say it a couple times. Okay, the next big question is that big goal, when do you want it? So I've been bounced around by life quite a bit. I call it the red D. There's been death and disease and disasters and all kinds of crap. And my business has kind of got bounced around because of COVID. And so now I'm back to a new big goal. I want to do $3.3 million online in the next 3 years. So write down a big goal like that, you guys. And it's okay to move towards that. And I know I can do it because nobody is allowed to have a red D in my life anymore. Those things cause decline. Okay, so the next question, why do you want that? The big reason I want 3.3 million online is like Julie, I want to travel more. I want to impact more people. So your why is going to have 5 or 6 or 8 people. I know that, or 5 or 6 or 8 points. So write down your whys. Why are you doing this? Okay, you can expand on that later, but your why needs to be so big that when life kind of takes over, or you doubt yourself, or you run up against a technology wall, that you're like, dang it, I'm doing it anyway. That's how big your why needs to be. But the next thing that we're going to work on is your how. What are the things you need to do to put that in place? Which is why I was talking to Sheridan yesterday. Actually, it's not why I was talking to her. I was talking to her to help her, but then she started helping me about how am I going to accomplish all of that? So write down your house. What do you have to do? How many phone calls do you have to make? How many miles do you have to drive? Write down 5 of your biggest hows. How are you going to make it happen? You have your how. I'm going to ask you a really big question. And that is something I already asked you, but I'm going to ask you to go deeper on this. I'm going to ask you to identify who you serve. I've been doing a lot of study on this lately, especially in the last week. And it's more, I want it to be more than just niching. I have a niche, but go deeper on that niche. What I want you to think about when you're thinking about how you're going to achieve this goal, what it's going to take, when you're thinking about who you serve, I want you to dig in so deep that you know the color of their hair, you know where they're shopping. What I want you to think about is the person or the people that you can love more than anyone else. So I think of Shelley when she says, I want to help women find more balance. There's an opportunity there to say, I want to help women who have gone through divorce find more balance in their lives, or I want to help busy executives find more balance in their lives. So I want you to dig into just the exact person that you can work with. I'm going to tell you while you're writing an example of this. Yesterday online, I met a couple that were teaching people how to have Amazon businesses, and they were doing okay with it, but they weren't doing really great. And when they decided to form membership communities and talk to stay-at-home moms who homeschooled their children and wanted to build a business during nap time, they did $7 million in consulting business in a year because they dove in that deep. So that's what I want you to think about. Who can I love more than anybody else? Who is that person I want to serve? Because if you're trying to serve everybody, you're not serving anybody. So your, oh, Veronica, I love it. Pre-kindergarten parents and teachers. That is beautiful. That's so micro-niched. What I want you to do with your homework today is to look into micro-niching just a little bit more. Look that up online, contact me if you want to, and see how that is going to help you figure out how you can do your business, build it really fast and not get exhausted. So, I'm going to ask you a really big question at the end of this call. So save some space there on your paper. We're going to come back to that. But I want to tell you 2 things. One, my goal today, or my gift to you today was 2 people on this call are going to earn coaching calls with me, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And Kayla's keeping a list of everybody on the call, and we'll draw those in a little while. But Sheridan, a few minutes ago, I'm like, no pressure, but you want to give away coaching calls? Guess what she said? Yes. So Sheridan's going to give away 2 coaching calls too. So so 4 of you are going to have coaching calls at the end of this, but you have to know if Sheridan's worth working for. So she gets to talk to you now. Sheridan, you've heard all about these really cool women and what they're doing. What do they need to know? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I think, Karen, I love where you're going with this. The one thing, the one piece I'd like to add, Karen, do you mind if I add something to yours?
No.
Okay,
all about it.
Here we go. So is when you look at all of the things she asked you to do, the question you would want to ask yourself is, who do I have to be to do this? Right? Who do I have to be? And I think we miss that question sometimes, is like, do I need another skill? Do I need coaching with finances? What more do I need? Who do I need to be? And I actually was talking about Karen about this yesterday. I like the idea of like lead from the future, act in the now. So like that person that is $3 million online, Karen, what are the skills that you need to hone right now? What could you do right now to be that person? And I think that's what we need to encompass. And I think women in general, because we're all women on this call, is really that intuitive, innovative, how do I do it differently? How do I do it better? How do I use my like unique gift to serve the world? And how do I tie that into a pretty package with a pretty bow? And so it's easy to find my people. So it's easy to attract people to me, because that's what we want. We want ease and joy and freedom and flow. We want all those things, but I think what we're afraid of is the structure. So entrepreneurs by nature are afraid of the structure. So I really want you to think about why you become an entrepreneur. Usually at the heart of it is you want freedom, right? You want freedom from the constraints of like the cubicle life, or I don't know, can anyone identify with that? Like you want that freedom. I know I do. I'm like a total freedom junkie. So what happens sometimes is when we don't control our time, when we don't take time as our most valuable asset, time, energy, money, time is the only thing that's not renewable. Time is where we need to focus. On the front end of our business, we need to ask ourselves, like, what are my core values? What are the 3 things I have to do every week to move this forward? What does Sheridan 2.0, 5.0, 10.0 do on the day-to-day in order to ensure that she's going to run this large business? And it's not, and I think we don't give ourselves enough credit. What I would challenge all of you to do on this front part of your business, or even if you've been in business for a while, is all time is holding one agreement with yourself. I'm going to make time one of my core values. It's micro habit changes every day that change the macro version of time. So really thinking about how do you implement this? What does it look like? How do you control time? How do you make more time? I mean, the idea would be, and I really want you to think about this. Whatever you do now probably isn't working that well. Because I feel like I can say this because I help people with it so often. So it's really taking this macro view of your time. Most people in America, if you look at Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants, it's something you should look up, live in this emergency mode. Like something will happen. I heard people say it on this call, like life happened. Somebody died, something, whatever. And I'm here to tell you in the nicest way possible, when you're building a business, your business does not care one bit how you feel, right? Or what you think. So one of the things I say to myself in a really good affirmation is I can't do all things, but I can hold myself to these 3 things that are my core value things every day. Okay. So that's something to think about. Like, what are your 3 needle mover things that you can put on your calendar and hold yourself to? Like, that's the agreement when you're running if you want freedom, you absolutely have to do that. And what I hear a lot, and I heard some of you and I wrote down, is I'm just doing this little thing. Oh, got to take that out of your vocabulary. You're not just doing this little thing. Like, you are building this cool business. You are contributing to the world. Like, I really want you guys to all think like, and I want to read this to you. It's something I give all my clients. You're on a soul mission to make the world a better place and uplift millions of lives. Your work matters. You matter. You are the change the world needs more than ever. And really just like holding space for that in what you're creating. And I feel like, Karen, when you're working through exercises like that one, that's what we're trying to get you to do, is really see who you need to be. Because this work of, and I say up level, of becoming an entrepreneur, of having your own business, of running your own show, of getting the freedom, it's all about you. It's who are you going to be? So start by, these are my core values. I'm going to hold myself to these 3 things every day. And honestly, the magic will happen. Because what will happen if we don't do that, if we just don't start with that tiny micro habit, is all the things will happen, right? And we're back in emergency mode. Because one of the ways I describe this to people is like, I have 5 kids, I run a business, I travel, I do all these things. And it's not because I'm so much more evolved than everyone else. It's because when I time block or plan my life, I leave white space so that I'm never in emergency mode. Even when emergencies happen, I can rely on myself to get my 3 things done. And it's not at all costs, but a little bit while you're building, it is at all costs. Because if you don't lean into this structure that you're creating, you won't get the freedom that you want. You won't get, and I guarantee, I know why people come coaching to me I know now after all these years, it's more freedom, more time, more money, more joy, more happiness. And it starts with this time thing. Like once you can be more with time, you'll start to make all the other ones happen.
See why I poked her?
Does anyone have any questions about that?
Kelsey, that's good. Mic drop. You got a mic drop. Right? Okay, so let's talk about this, you guys. Remember, it's a conversation. What does Sheridan make you think about, or what question do you have for her?
I love the idea of leaving the white space because I find myself in that same, I get overloaded and it's because I don't leave white space. And that's a great way to think of it.
Yeah, I'd love to just comment. It's not do more when you do this, it's be more. So your calendar, like looking at your calendar, are you doing more? Are you being everything to everyone? Are you being more? Or are you doing more? And I think there's a difference between the two. And I would always, I check myself all the time, like, am I meeting my core value needs? Like if you look at your calendar and it's like doing everything for everyone and meeting everyone else's needs and your business is like, maybe if it happens, it happens, or your life stuff that matters to you, maybe if it happens, it happens, then your calendar and your everyday actions don't actually reflect your core values. So I want to look at someone's calendar and be like, oh, I could see what their core values are. Does that make sense? And the white space, if you can time block and leave spaces for nothing, right? Because in that white space, you can ask the question, what do I need? And you might need a nap, right? You might need to watch Netflix for 3 hours. Like it's okay to allow yourself that space. But as entrepreneurs, I think our brains are like, oh, if I'm not doing something for my business, then I feel guilty. But then we don't leave space in our calendar to do those things. And then so it's this constant self-sabotage cycle with time. So 3 core things or 1 agreement. I know I can do this needle mover thing in my business at all costs.
So brilliant. I was recently working with one of my clients that it's a whole staff of men, and the lead man just felt overwhelmed all of the time. And so I sat down with him and we spent 30 minutes calendar blocking for him. And at the end of calendar blocking, he had these huge white spaces. And he's like, oh my gosh, I guess I have more time than I thought I did. And that's what calendar blocking can do for you. He reported back to me yesterday morning. He said, holy cow, I'm getting so much done because I know I have space to do it. That's the power of calendar blocking, you guys. Leaving that
even
space.
Karen, I'd love to speak just a little bit about like how you actually achieve the goal that you write down.
Please do.
Okay. So one of the things I was telling Karen is everybody needs a growth plan. If you run a business, you have to have a plan that you're executing. And so one of the most vital things is to take that vision that you want, right? So Karen, you asked in a year. Did you say in 1 year what you wanted?
Yeah.
Yep. So you take what you want to do in 1 year, and then you work backwards. So like, what do I have to do every month to ensure that I'm going to get to my end goal? Because what'll happen is if you don't do this, you'll be here, there, and everywhere, and just crossing your fingers that you're going to get there. So I take a big goal, for example, like I want to do $1 million in volume this year. So how am I going to get there? Where is that money going to come from? What are the actions that are going to get me there, and who do I need to be? Those are always the questions I ask myself, is what are the actions and who do I need to be? That's it. Okay, so I work backwards from there. So the big vision is 1 million. Of course, I break it down number wise by quarter and month, and in actual, like, where are those clients coming from? How am I going to make this happen? So it's a picture. It's a, okay. So, but then what I do is I say, okay, what do I need to do to make this happen? And it's not 3 million things. It's 4 or 5 things every month that are going to get me to that goal. So I don't hold myself to, and it's not a ridiculous ideal. It's like I have a launch and, you know, I have this launch in June, I have this launch in May. And what happens if you go big picture like that and have it, all of a sudden it's doable. Because all of a sudden you're being more instead of doing more. So it's really breaking it down backwards. Like, I can't do everything, but I know I can do these 4 or 5 things a month to get to my goals.
So good. Okay, Denise, you had your hand raised.
This conversation about time management reminded me of what Penny Walker said a couple weeks ago on this webinar. And I just want to remind everybody, because I've been keeping it in mind myself, that you have morning, afternoon, evening, and one of those is for your personal time. So that if you have an event that you're going to at night, then it's okay to take a few hours off in the afternoon and play with the grandkids, or like what my new thing is go swimming at the Y. That's my new thing, Karen, that I did because you said trying one new thing. So that's what I'm doing. But anyhow, just those 3 blocks of time was really helpful for me.
Oh my gosh, it always touches me that I get to help influence people. So Denise just amazes me. Who else has a question or a thought for Sheridan at this point? What else were you thinking as she's talking about this? Tiffany, your turn, and then Claire, you'll be next.
Okay, I just was wondering if for like time blocking and calendar management and all of that, do you have a specific technique or like an app, or like, is it old school like calendar and paper, or what have you found works the best?
I'd love to share. I use this tracker that I made myself, and I just was finding that people were having such a hard time with staying on their 3 things and not going to their, here's what, and I'll tell you exactly what it's like, and then we'll drop it in the chat. But here's what I do is I have like my 3 to 5 things that I'm going to do that day, no matter what. Right. And then I always keep my weekly things the same. So my weekly, I know I'm going to go live on a video. I'm going to spend 80% of my time connecting with people. These are my things that I do every week, right? No matter what. And then what I have on the bottom is like 3 big projects I'm working on that are going to move me forward. And they're probably coming straight from my 4 to 5 things a month. My needle mover things to move me forward are my 3 big projects I'm working on. So I never go like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do next. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? I feel like we get so stuck in that, like, what do I do next? And because it's such a big picture thing, when you're building a business, you have to break it down into bite-sized pieces. And so I just use that as a daily. And sure, go have your 30, 40, whatever makes you feel good about yourself to-do list, right? Sure. But you're going to work in this space with your work. And that to-do list is for bonus. Like, yay me, I got my 3 things done. I am going to go work on my 40 thing to-do list. Does that make sense? So I think what normal planners do a lot is they're missing that piece of like celebrating those micro things that you're accomplishing. It's the consistency that wins this game. Consistency wins, and we have to hold ourselves to the 3 things so that we are consistent in our delivery. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I would use that tracker. That's the tracker that works for me, that it works for my clients. And then your planner becomes something else where you're like, I think time blocking for a while, you have to use a paper calendar. That's what I make my clients do, is like, literally, this is your white space. These are your core value. And then you put the rest in it. Does that make sense? So white space, core value, and then the rest. And literally just like a Google Calendar, but only like in paper version, so you can really hold yourself to it.
It's
thank you.
Thank you for telling us about the tracker that you have, and I'll look forward to putting the link in here. I think when you're looking at calendar blocking, it's doing what works for you. Use her tracker, use like the young man that I worked with the other day, we used whiteboards because it didn't feel so committed to him. And now he's like, oh, now I can put it on paper because I see how it works. So do what works for you. Yeah, but thank you for telling us about that.
Karen, you mentioned something earlier about what do you want, and I felt like a question to ask beyond that is like, is it just about making money, or do you want to have a mission, a movement? Most people feel really good when they're like mission driven or movement driven, especially women and entrepreneurs and business owners. Is what is the movement you want to create? What is the feeling you want to evoke? What is the movement that you can identify, so that becomes such a better why than like, I want to make money too. It's not downplaying it. It's like, do you want to make money, or do you want to have a movement or a mission?
Beautiful. Okay, so here's what we're doing. Read what Tony just wrote in chat. It is beautiful. Claire, you get to ask your question, and then we'll answer Veronica's question, and then we'll draw for the coaching calls because it's already the end of the hour, which is unbelievable. Okay, Claire.
Yeah, so I guess my question is really, you're talking about setting out these like 1 to 3 things a day, which I have been doing. And so for me, I find that and maybe other people have this issue, is it's maybe not focusing on the right things. Like I get my 3 things done, but I'm just spinning in the same circle again and again, right? So I don't know if maybe it's not relevant to this call, but I don't know if anyone else experiences that, and if you can kind of speak to reevaluating, and you do this for a couple of weeks and you're like, wow, I got absolutely nowhere. So that was great that I checked my thing off every day, but now I'm not still feeling so good about it.
Take it away, Sheridan.
Yeah, I feel like the piece that we miss when we those things are going to change based on the movement towards your goals, right? So I feel like the weekly things stay the same, but the daily things change based on how you have to check in with yourself. So another practice that I make my clients do is like, at the beginning of the week, you're going to set the intentions for the week, right? You're going to say, this is how much money I'm bringing in. This is what I'm going to do. Hold yourself kind of in that space. And then you can do a daily check. You can do I make the people that work for me do a daily check-in on like what they set their intention for at the beginning of the week. Like imagine if you held yourself to that. Then, but the end of the week comes Friday and you want to celebrate, or do you want to be like, oh, I didn't get there. Like life happened or something happened, or it took me away, or it's not, if you do things right on the front planning with the white space and you don't have any emergencies and you always get to your goals every week. Does that make sense? And so, I didn't really answer your question. So the core value things are always going back and revisiting, like, okay, so for me, like I run a business where I have to have a lot of outreach and so, or follow up. So I kind of go, okay, what makes money in my business? So 80% of your time should be doing things that make money in your business. Like I hold myself to that. Follow up, connecting, asking for the sale. Am I in a launch? Like whatever it is that's my money making things should make up 80% of what I do. So you can check yourself. You can be like, are my 3 things congruent with the 80% activities? And did my time blocking reflect 80% of my time was in money making activities? Does that make sense? I think that's a really good place to start. And then you're like, do I have a practice? So I'm moving my mindset forward. Am I doing my like spiritual goals? Am I doing my physical goals? Like you want to have all of it aligned, but it starts with this, like, come hell or high water, I'm going to do my 80% because I'm running a business.
I love that, Sharon. One of the people that I listened to on a podcast was Barbara Corcoran. And she said, and it shocked me in the moment, but she said her family never calls her at work because they know better than to interrupt her. Right? And I was like, ooh, you're tough. But then I was like, ooh, you're tough. And look where she is. Right?
I know.
You train people how to treat you and train them that you're building a business. Yeah. Okay, so Sheridan, any last thought?
No, I think just learning the value of making a commitment to yourself, holding your top 3 core value things at the highest, agreement with yourself, and making sure they're in your blocks of time first, along with your white space. And if you can do that, and then I can give you this tracker where you can track that, you will have time almost figured out.
Almost. Almost. And she knows what she's talking about. She has 5 children. She didn't tell you that, but she's a busy mom and she runs an amazing business. So I want you to go back to the goals that you set, and that it was very simple, but it was very big. And I want you to ask yourself this. This is your final thing. When you look at that goal and you look at all the work that needs to happen, you look at who you're doing it for, and you take in these skills that Sheridan has given you, I'm going to ask you a big question, and that is, will you do it? And if you will do it, you circle it and say yes and write yes, big, bold, scribble on it, whatever you have to do, make that yes really bold. And if it's, I don't know, then you go back and you change that goal and you massage it around until it fits into the pattern of your life and the person that you are going to be, as Sheridan said. So if it's a yes and you wrote a yes down, I want you to hold it up to the screen so we can see your yeses. Anybody got a yes there? Okay, hold them up for a second. I see a couple people writing, so, ooh, that's exciting. Okay, 1, 2, 3, hold it up, even if it's not quite done. Good job, you guys. Okay, so I'm excited for you and where you're going. And where we're going next is finding out who the 4 winners are, not 2, not 1, 4 winners. So almost all of you are walking away with a coaching session. But we love that. So Kayla is going to do this in a very fancy way, aren't you, Kayla?
I have a wheel. I have to shout out to Marcel for sending me a wheel that I can input all your names on. So let me share my screen and we'll go ahead and we'll pick those winners.
Marcel is the one who developed the workbook. So everybody say, good job, Marcel. I put the words down. She made them beautiful. Okay. Oh my gosh, look at this wheel. Okay, first one is winning time with Sheridan. So give it a spin. Holy cow, that is the coolest little treat ever. All right, Claire,
all right.
you just won time with Sheridan. Woohoo! So Claire, put your contact info in the box there and Sheridan will pick that out. Next one, so the next one, did you do the next one?
Yeah, I can spin. Next one is it with Sheridan or with you?
With me.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Do 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 do. Julie, woohoo! You're talking to me. Very good. Okay. Next one, Sheridan. Who wants to have a call where you can just spin the little wheel now that you've seen that? I'm like, I want to do that. Oh my gosh, Denise, your mind is going to be blown. It will be blown. Okay, last one is for me. Oh, I'm so excited. Who do I get to talk to? KJ, all right. So KJ, I have your info, I believe, through the system, but drop it in there just in case. You guys, I am absolutely in love with the conversation that we had today, the conversation that we've been having. Holy cow, you are going to do some cool things in the world. And I want to ask you to remember who you are going to be when you accomplish these goals and who you are as you're going towards that. And that consistency wins. All of those things come from Sheridan. Big round of applause for Sheridan for jumping on here at a spur of the moment from last night's talk into this. Thank you guys. Go do amazing things for the women in the world, and because you are amazing women on the rise in the world. Woohoo!
Yes, and everyone come back for our last session next week. We're going to be so
a lot of
excited,
truth,
but also so excited.